NFL free agency is not over yet, but with the first week-ish about over, it's time to break down a new 2025 NFL mock draft. We will have more coverage for you of both the draft and free agency right here on the Chat Sports YouTube channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed. The quarterback situation remains unsolved. The Tennessee Titans have not really been linked or shown any interest in adding any type of quarterback help. And the buzz out of New York is the hopes of getting the number 1 overall pick are dead. All that makes me think Cam Ward will be the pick at number 1 overall by the Titans, which would give them a long-term, hopeful franchise QB. But that's not set in stone. Neither is number 2 overall. Myles Garrett said he had a good idea of what the Browns are going to do with the at the quarterback spot. The only thing that he could know for certain is if they were to draft somebody at number 2. So I am not confident in Shedeur Sanders being the number 2 overall pick. But the Browns and Giants both have giant question marks, pun not intended, I guess, about who their quarterback will be. And if Shedeur doesn't go 2 or 3, there is a chance of a slide into the 20s. Not that dissimilar from not comparing the players, but we saw Brady Quinn. We saw Aaron Rodgers go on slides. Jimmy Clausen went all the way down to round 2. We've seen guys that have been buzzy of round 1 picks, top 5 picks slide. But if Shedeur goes 2, well then, hey, there's the franchise QB in theory for Cleveland. So will the Browns take a quarterback in round 2? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's video. If QBs go 1-2, I refuse to believe the Jackson Dart buzz. So we'll put Travis Hunter at number 3 overall. He can play corner, he can play receiver, can do a lot of fun things for the Giants. And then Abdul Carter goes number 4 to the Patriots. And if you want to flip those guys, that's not an issue at all either. As long as the Giants have a QB, this works out pretty well for them and the Patriots getting 2 of the best players in this year's NFL draft class. Mason Graham to the Jags at 5. I still view defensive tackle as a need. I am a big fan of Graham. Outside of Hunter Carter, every guy in this mix has been mentioned of well, maybe he could slide. Not everyone can slide, guys. Number 6, and this is an Ashton Jeanty spot as well, I'll go with T-Mac, Tetairoa McMillan, giving the Raiders a big body outside receiver that they don't really have. The Jets then take Tyler Warren, number 7 overall. I think this is just kind of going value. I don't think they have a great tight end piece. We saw Aaron Glenn and, what the team, he was defensive coach, but he saw the offense have success with Sam Laporta. Why not plug Warren in there? Shemar Stewart, the gifted athlete, who I'm going to ride with my Jadeveon Clowney comp there, goes number 8. I think, Jalen Walker could also very much be in the cards here. I kind of waffled on those 2 guys being fits there for Carolina. I didn't really know what to do at 9 with the Saints. I also don't know if Campbell's a tackle, a guard, or a center, but I know the Saints need offensive line help. It's an LSU boy. We'll slot him in there at number 9. That leaves Ashton Jeanty for the Bears at 10. They took care of their interior offensive line needs. Edge could also be a potential option. But they spent big money on Deo Oduningbo. I think the Bears in position to go with the Jeanty or Tyler Warren if he falls. Jeanty, for me, is a top 5 player in this class, and even with positional value stuff factored in. Who do you think will end up drafting Jeanty in round 1? It's the pinned comment on today's show, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. I waffled between edge and offensive line for San Francisco. The edges are not good with the Niners. They need pass rush help. So I'll go Mike Green, who, if you trust the off-the-field stuff, could easily go top 12. Will Johnson is my pick here for the Cowboys. They got question marks at corner. Deron Bland is the only proven healthy corner right now on the roster. There's a lot of high round picks, late round picks, 1-year deal guys. Johnson may or may not run his 40-yard dash. I'm not going to overthink him, though. He's a damn good football player. I'll go different at 13 because I didn't want to do the same picks over and over again. I always want to mix these up. Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. I think interior defensive line is a massive hole for Miami. Grant didn't get tested at the Combine. Whenever he does his pro day, the numbers will come in, and they will be shockingly high. Colston Loveland out of Michigan. So I didn't mean to do 3 straight Michigan picks, but that ended up happening here. I think adding a playmaker for Anthony Richardson, or I guess Daniel Jones too, would be a nice fit for Indy. I think edge also an under-the-radar fit here. I actually gave a Bulldog player to the Falcons. They don't do that very often. They probably should do more of that, frankly. Edge/linebacker, I think either way is like the focal point of the defense. I think the Falcons can help make the most out of Jalen Walker there. I went value pick here. I am a big fan of Armand Membu. Like, the earliest he could go, I think, is feasibly 4. And I don't see him getting outside the top 20. My solution here for Arizona is play him for a year at guard and then put him at right tackle once Jordan Williams leaves. Or if you want to make him right tackle now, that's not a huge issue for me either. I think he's a fringe top 10 player in this class. So to get him at 16 for me is incredible value. Now, the Marvin Harrison Fanatics issue has been resolved. You can now get Marvin Harrison jerseys over on Fanatics. So all the players, all the teams are now available. They are sorted by most popular, so you'll see a lot of Eagles ones, but get Marvin Harrison Jr. ones too now. Chatsports.com/NFL jersey. If you want the draft pick of your next team, just wait. They'll be available. If you want to go pursue the recent signing, they'll be available there as well. Links in the comments and the description. Chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Number 17, Mykel Williams, the edge out of Georgia. This is probably about the right range for him. I think there are real concerns with just how much of a good pass rusher he is, but Bengals need run stopping and pass rushing at defensive end, so you're at least getting one of them there. Now, historically speaking, Seattle does not value guards early. This is an off-type pick for Seattle. I will acknowledge that. But Tyler Booker, you need a guard. He's a good player. I just think it makes sense for Seattle to go get an impactful player. It might not be the best scheme fit potentially, but I do want to try to help out and protect Sam Darnold because he gets bad when there's pressure in his face, and that's what that path is trending towards. We'll see if they end up signing Tevin Jenkins, by the way. As of filming, they have not. Judd Campbell. I like this fit a lot for Tampa. Can do some edge stuff, can do some blitzing stuff, can be another, I think, off-ball linebacker at the best alongside Levante David short-term and take over the number 1 spot long-term. Now, Denver might not actually go wide receiver in round 1, but I like the value for Golden at 20 with the very impressive combine performance and the way he played in a good portion of the CFP and down the stretch. Gives them another option on the outside alongside Cortland Sutton. Marion Hampton to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's your Najee Harris replacement. Hampton had a strong combine showing. If there were any doubts about him being RB2, I think those are pretty much silenced there. And in this draft class, would not be surprised if he goes round 1. In fact, I think he does go in round 1. So how many backs in the end up going in the first round of this year's NFL draft? Let me know in the comments section of today's video. Emeka Egbuka to the Chargers. I think getting another kind of guy inside-outside flex, kind of like Ladd McConkey has, so it's not just Mike Williams and Quentin Johnston being counted on, would be a smart move for LA. Plus, he'll block, and you know Jim Harbaugh loves that stuff. I am a big fan of Jahdae Barron. I think he is an awesome football player. He has a top 10 ranking for me in this year's class, but the arm length concerns will probably push him down. Packers need another dude at corner, though. I think they get one. First off, I think the Vikings are going to try to trade down. They are the most obvious trade down team in this year's draft with their lack of draft capital. Nicky Manwari, though, as a long-term piece in a safety room that I don't think has a lot of true and locked-in long-term pieces. Harris Smith's getting up there in age. I think it's a fun fit with what Brian Flores likes to do. I think that could be a really intriguing option. A tackle for Houston. Kelvin Banks, he slid in this mock draft. A couple of these guys we're about to get to here are guys that I like, but general consensus from the NFL side seems to be that they could slide. They move on from Laremy Tunsil. Let's try Kelvin Banks at left tackle or guard if that fails. Rams get a corner, Maxwell Hairston. He got that dog in him in the most positive sense, also tested super well. The production was down in 2024. The entire Kentucky defense and team was down in 2024, though. The Ravens always like SEC players who end up being value picks. Wouldn't Malachi Starks be awesome there? You correctly move on from Marcus Williams. I think Starks probably played too much nickel this past year, but this would also allow the Ravens to have some flexibility in the defense. You don't have to make Marlon Humphrey just a nickel. He can play more outside corner stuff for you. You can move Kyle Hamilton back now in the nickel because Malachi Starks can do some safety stuff. So I think the multiple chess pieces the Ravens have in the secondary, add to that with Malachi Starks and fill one of your holes. Luther Burden out of Missouri. I don't know why he's sliding down mock drafts. I think he's awesome. I think he's a really good football player. I'm happy to plug him in there at number 28 to the Lions. Gives him a really intriguing number 3 wide receiver. Josh Simmons at number 29 here. I would probably put him over at right tackle in this scenario. Move sides and let, Laramie Tunsil stay on the left side of the offensive line. But it's also kind of a luxury pick in case that patella tendon injury needs a little bit more recovery time. Donovan Ezaraku, edge out of Boston College. Good bender, good athlete. I think could be a sneaky round 1 pick in this year's class. I know they got Joey Bosa and others, but those are all short-term options. This is a long-term pass rusher for Buffalo. Number 31, Walter Nolan. And Chris Jones is getting up there in age. You can still play Nolan and Chris Jones together in pass rushing situations. I would have loved the nose guard, but Kenneth Grant's not falling this far, I don't believe. So I'll take a long-term piece as well at defensive tackle and some key rotations, given that the Chiefs probably want to limit Chris Jones' snap counts in the regular season. James Pierce, a very talented football player. Sounds like some character concerns or just like motivation stuff more than anything. Commitment were raised at the NFL Combine. The Eagles have not been scared of that stuff in the past, and it's mostly worked out for them. Right, Jalen Carter? Add another dynamic pass rusher who pure talent-wise, is probably an easy top 20 player in this class. So grade the mock draft for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show how you feel about this particular NFL mock draft. Before we go, some other names to mention. 2 offensive linemen who could sneak in around 1. I really want to find a spot for Gray Zabel, but I didn't think the Eagles would spend a first-round pick on a guard. Gray Zabel, who could play center guard. Josh Connolly out of Oregon. And Derek Harmon, who I like a lot. I think could be a sneaky round 1 pick. Nick Scorton, the edge out of A&M, and then Siobhan Revelle, talent-wise, is really good. Just question marks about the health of that knee for him.